Robert Louis Stevenson, a novelist 1 century back in the 19th century. He has written very famous novels. Last Sunday or 2 Sundays back, I had mentioned about another novel of his, Treasure Island, a very adventurous novel. He has also written another novel, a bit of horror novel, but bit of psychological novel, The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. What is this novella? It is not a very big novel. It's a novella, a short novel, It's talking about a doctor in a town. And this doctor is called Dr. Jekyll. And those of us who have not seen this doctor, I'm going to show you. Here is a doctor, Dr. Jekyll. So let me put this Dr. Jekyll here. Dr. Jekyll is a good doctor, patient with the patients, very gentle, very kind, very intelligent, and very learned doctor. He has got a clinic in his house, and he has got a laboratory too for research in his house. This doctor is well known in the town. People loved him and people talk well of him. They liked him, in fact, not only the patients, entire town. But this doctor, as he was intelligent, he had done some research in his laboratory in the home, trying to find a drug, a medical drug. And he researched and identified a drug one evening. And what was that drug about? The drug was, if somebody takes that drug, the face and the figure of the person will change. Not only the face and the figure will change, also the character will change, as long as the drug effect was there. So after finding this drug in his laboratory, the doctor did not want to try on others or patients. So the first time he tried it on himself to see what effect the drug has on himself. So in the evening, when all the patients were gone in his laboratory, he took the drug to himself. And he looked into the mirror. Was there any change? Slowly he saw in the mirror his face changed, little ugly. He became little stout. The hair stood up, the nails grew, and hairs all over the face. He looked cruel, wicked, looking like a rowdy or a rascal. Anyway, the doctor thought of taking a walk in the town. So he came out of the house and he started taking walk, but people did not know him. That was Dr. Jekyll, because his physical appearance has changed. As he took the walk, the people normally in Western countries, they wish each other. We don't wish in India when we see any strangers on the road, but they wish. And when they wish, good evening, he wished them in a rude and rough way. People were a little amazed why this man is rude and rough when they were wishing him. And as he was walking along, another person wished him, and he shouted him back and scolded him, chided him, and he raised his voice in a rough voice. He saw a few people gathered and talking, and he went into their midst and chased them. Another group, he started to fight with them, and even he killed a man on the road. People started to chase him, and they found this man is something wrong, and they chased him, but Dr. Jekyll escaped the chase, and he came back to his home without being noticed, to his laboratory. They did not know this was Dr. Jekyll because his appearance has changed. By morning, the drug effect was over, and he was back to his Dr. Jekyll form. A gentle, a kind Dr. Jekyll. So, Dr. Jekyll became Mr. Hyde at night. This is what people called the man at night. And Dr. Jekyll used to take almost every day this drug in the evening. And he used to take a walk. And people talked with the dreaded fear that this is a cruel, wicked man, Mr. Hyde. And they nicknamed or named this man, whom they did not know this was Dr. Jekyll, as Mr. Hyde. Everything changed. Not only physical appearance, also the mentality and the character changed. By day, Dr. Jekyll. By night, Mr. Hyde. Same man. This novel, or the novella, was a revolution in the study of psychology at that time, even now, especially with regard to split personality or multiple personality. Now, why did I narrate this story? Did Jesus have split personality? Double personality? No. Today, as we celebrate the Feast of Transfiguration, we are remembering a face that is different from the normal face of Jesus. What do we call? We don't call double personality of Jesus. In the theological language, we call the divine face of Jesus or divine nature of Jesus. Today, he shows to the disciples divine nature. So let me show you the divine nature of Jesus. This Jesus today on the mountain becomes divine in his appearance. His face shines and his clothes become like white as snow. Why this dress rehearsal on this mountain? Jesus was not like this in his public ministry. And the disciples liked him so much, that particular figure of Jesus. The costumes changed, the figure changed, everything. Very, very bright and loving and radiant Jesus. But when Jesus came down from the mountain, his entire appearance changed back to normal face, and that was real human nature, like us, suffering and hungry, weeping, exactly like us, and finally he died. So was Jesus having one type of personality? No. This was his divine nature. We believe Jesus is God and fully man. So when I say Jesus is fully God and fully man, the complete Jesus makes up of his divine element and human element. And if you look at Jesus as only man, it is not complete Jesus. If you look at Jesus as only divine, it is not complete Jesus. Jesus is both man and God. That means human nature is part of his person. So, Jesus is human and Jesus is divine. Today he becomes divine, and when he came down from the mountain, he becomes human again. So this is the feast that we are celebrating. Not that Jesus had split personality. Jesus has two natures. So when we try to understand Jesus, even the disciples did not understand very much at that time of Jesus. They saw Jesus with them living and eating and teaching. But today they saw another face of Jesus, another nature of Jesus. To understand Jesus, we need to understand the entire person of Jesus, from human side and from divine side. Otherwise, we will misjudge Jesus. This is the same with all of us. All of us. We sometimes misjudge people by just what we see in that person, or by just what we hear about that person, or hear from that person. People are not what we see and what we hear. They are much more than that. And how often we misjudge? How often misjudge people? Now you are seeing me and you are hearing me, and you may judge me from what you see now and what you hear from me. I am not just only that. People are not just only that. They are much, much more than that. And today, as we celebrate the feast of the Transfiguration, how do we understand people today? There is a clue from the feast itself, from the Father who speaks from the cloud to the disciples. How to understand Jesus? And the Father gives a clue. 3 clues. What are they? Father says, "This is my beloved Son. I am well pleased with him. Listen to him." Very important clues for the disciples to understand Jesus well. This is my beloved Son. What does it mean? Father tells the disciple, this person called Jesus is my best son, my most favorite son, my beloved son. I appreciate him very much. I appreciate him. I like him. So first thing is, if you really want to understand other people, exactly like Father told disciples about understanding Jesus, we need to appreciate people. So this is the first clue today we need to understand. Appreciate people. Father appreciated the Son. Do you want to understand Jesus? He tells the disciples, appreciate as I appreciate my beloved Son. Try to see the good things in the people, positive things in the people, not wrong things in the people. Appreciate them. First thing. Second thing, with whom I am well pleased. What does it mean? The Father is quite happy with the Son. He does not want to change the Son. I am quite happy with my Son. I am pleased with him. What does it mean? I accept him as he is. The second clue to understand people. Don't try to change people. Accept people as they are. Second clue. Accept them as they are. Don't try to change people. First thing is to accept them as they are. Father accepts the Son without changing him. Third thing, the toughest part, listen to him. If you really want to understand people, listen to them. Listen. Listen to what people say. Listen to what people don't say. Most of the time we don't listen. Sometimes we hear passing by. But listening demands entire being to be active and involved in the other person. That is called listening. And some of us, or all of us, we don't listen to everything what the other person says. How many of you are listening to me now? During this live stream, some of you must have gone to the kitchen to see whether cooking is done. Some of you are distracted by other people there. Some of you are only listening to what few things I am saying. We are all selective listeners. We listen what we want to listen. Do we listen to everything with an open mind, with an open heart, without any prejudices, without any biases? That is the real listening. And if you do this, appreciate, accept people as they are, and listen well, you will understand quite a bit about the other person. Not the other way, by what you see and what you hear. In the Old Testament, there is a beautiful story of incident that happened in the book of Samuel. Prophet Samuel goes to the house of Jesse, and Jesse has 8 sons. And Prophet Samuel wanted to anoint one of the sons as king of Israel, successor to Saul. So he goes there. Lord leads Prophet Samuel to the house of Jesse, and he asked for the sons to come. So sons for king, so the first son, Eliab, comes. Strong, macho man, 6-pack man, very strong. And Samuel says, may not be this fellow. And Lord tells Samuel, and through the mouth of Samuel, the Lord tells, don't be deceived by the appearance. And Jesse brought one by one, and finally a shepherd boy in the field was chosen as a king, David. But the Lord gives a clue to Samuel, saying, man looks at the appearance, God looks at the heart. Don't be deceived by the appearance of people. And this is a clue for all of us. Today, to understand people, we need to have appearance and the heart. We need to look at the appearance and the heart. And if you really look at the appearance and the heart with appreciating people, accepting people, and listening to people, then I can say you have understood better than what you understood before about that person. Let us learn from today's speech that we will not judge by the appearance, and looking at the heart is tough, and to understand the heart, probably both appearance and the heart today we need by appreciating, accepting, and listening.